So, tonight's topic is one that's incredibly relevant and forward thinking: AI in your design workflow. Whether you're a product designer, refining user journeys, a UI UX professional pushing pixels with purpose, or someone just starting out in design, this session is for you.
Yeah, and I welcome Moksh to introduce himself. So yeah, we can start the session.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Vishnu, Shruti. And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. We have a lot to cover today. But before that, I'll just quickly introduce myself. Um, I am co-founder and CEO at Figr. I'm building this AI designing tooling where I've been working with designers, product managers, design teams from all across the domains, from Razorpay to Zepto to other teams. And we're building AI design tools for them. So we've been doing that for almost 2.5 years. And let's get straight into it. There's a lot to cover. I'll just present my screen. Let me know if it is visible.
Yes, yes, Moksh.
Yes.
Perfect. So to get started, let's first go through, like I just wanted to understand like how many of you like here are designers? Like you can raise your hands if you want. And I just wanted to understand like how many of you are designers here.
Or you can chat. Uh,
You can,
yes.
Sounds like you're getting everyone engaged and
yeah, I want this to be an interactive session. So if you have any questions, anything in between, please feel free to stop uh, me and we can discuss that as well.
So product designer from Bangalore
I'm
from
done.
yeah. So I
Okay,
think many fans from Bangalore for you, Moksh.
right. All right. And how many of you have used any kind of AI tool or anything like any AI product or something for your design process? Is it in okay, motif, stitch? That is good. Yeah, some people have tried Lovable,
Love
Bolt.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Figure, UX Pilot, Figma AI.
yes, yes. Locofy, Figma Make, definitely. So there are people who have tried AI tools, but I also wanted to ask, like, how many of you are not annoyed by that AI tool? Because I've seen that a lot of AI tools out there overpromise, but at times underdeliver. Is there anyone who is not annoyed or is yes or not?
That's it.
Yes, sometimes. Interesting. Galileo, especially. Okay, so welcome to the club because I think AI as a whole is being like it's in this nascent stage, but at the same time, it's quite powerful. And in the next 2, 3 years, or maybe 5 years, the change that we're going to see, not just in design, but in all the different industries, is going to be huge. The impact that AI is going to make. So, with that, let's start with where AI is going to be useful in your design workflows. Also, trying to understand and realize where AI might not be that useful and understanding its limitations. And so to begin with, again, just to introduce, I'm ex-founder as well. I've run before startups as well. I was a designer working at multiple different companies, and I love building products. In the photo, you see my co-founder as well. He is a MLA engineer. Together, both of us realized that there are a lot of problems in the design workflow, and people and especially designers spend a lot of time on grunt work or non-creative work that that time can be spent otherwise. So hence we started Figr. But this session is not about Figr. It's about what we have learned over the last 2 years after talking to 700 designers, over 200 design teams. We love taking user interviews. We love talking to designers from Silicon Valley in San Francisco to in India, in Bangalore, everywhere. We love talking to them, understanding them that how they're using AI, or in general, how do they want to use AI, and what all things can be done. Um, what are problems they are facing right now, what all AI tools they have adopted. And in this today's session, I will share a lot of different parts that I've learned over the last 2 years. Also, we read a lot of research papers as well, that things that you might not find, let's say on YouTube videos, or let's say in Medium articles or Instagram reels. We believe that the pinnacle of knowledge that you can find is in research papers out there. So there are a lot of design research papers that you can read out. So we've read over 50 research papers as well. And with all of that combined, I want to pack all of that session in the next 30-40 minutes. So let's begin. I think just going through the design workflow, like it all starts with UI, like the first step in it, where we we feel always like as a designer that UI takes less time as we have a design system in place. But then we see that it's not just moving and placing components together. It's more than that. You need to understand, inspire from other different designs, other different products that are being made out here. And it is tough, like finding inspirations is tough, like finding inspirations among hundreds and hundreds of places, using hundreds of different apps to understand, build that memory and muscle over time to see that, okay, this UX pattern works, this UX pattern doesn't work. But it doesn't stop at UI and inspiration, it goes above that. Even if you make first draft, most of the designers here would relate that it never stops at first draft. You know, you always have to iterate according to your product manager, according to your business leader, according to your users. And this is just the third part in the workflow. And you will see that there's a lot of iterations. Your Figma files, your design files will become very messy. There's a lot of time that goes into just iteration. We have this learning thing where we see that 80% of the time actually goes into the iteration rather than building the first draft. First draft is just one part of the process, and it just doesn't stop at iteration. It goes beyond that. Even if you build one or two or three screens or even a flow properly, the whole idea is to build it consistently. So the UI that you have designed after taking a lot of inspirations, doing a lot of iterations, everything should fit in together. And that is where all of these four things combined, the designers come in. It's a long task, and it is very time consuming as well. Like people generally underlook, especially non-designers, underlook the power of consistency. It ties together the whole design, and it separates good designs from great designs. And obviously then comes a lot of different bits. That is, as a designer, we always have to hand it off to developers, and there's a lot of process that goes into it. Yeah. So today we're going to cover these three bits. One is the AI in design today, how the new modern workflows are getting done and how designs get done into it. The second bit is, as we spoke about, what goes well and what doesn't go well with modern teams that adopt AI. And as a designer or as a design leader who has spent a lot of time in the design industry, or someone who is looking to break into design industry, um, uh, Melissa is saying, is other slides changing or not? Is it changing for everyone?
No.
Yes.
You, Moksh, you are in the AI design today. How design design is this? It's there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Melissa, you can probably refresh your check your connection. Okay. So coming back, like these are the three parts that we're going to discuss, and the last part is how to act on the whole changing workflows. Where whether you are a designer or a design leader or a student who is looking to break into UI UX. So with the changing times, with the changing workflows, with the entry of AI, how do you position yourself to become the best designer possible? So let's start with the first part, that is AI in design today, like how design are getting done. We feel that AI, the design workflow is generally divided into three broader parts. First is the exploration, the research, getting a clarity on what to build. That is the first part. The second is more towards creation. You go into your designer mode and you start building. You have some clarity. Okay, this is something that I want to build, but that is where you kick in and you start building. And then finally, even if the design is ready, it takes some time to polish it up and actually hand it off to make it developer ready. And we'll see how people are using AI in all three parts of it. So first part that after talking to a lot of people and going through some reports, we saw that with AI coming in, cold start problem is not non-existent anymore. What I mean is that if you have a raw idea or if you have any particular bit that you want to get started with, so AI is able to help you in the exploration bit the most. So this is a survey which was done where we saw that 84% of the designers are able to utilize AI the most in the exploration phase. 68% of the designers were able to utilize AI in the creation phase. And the rest, 40% about 40% were able to use it in handoff. But with time, it is increasing even in exploration, creation, and handoff. Again, like getting started with ideas is faster than ever. We'll also go through some of the tools which help you explore your ideas. I wanted to give some live demos as well, but I'll just quickly go through some of the tools so that you can get a good idea of what all tools exist out there, some of the modern tools, and how to get use of it. So I think everyone knows Lovable. That is really, really good for exploration. I think even we use it. A lot of people we have seen use it where the final design might not be there, but you can quickly get going, especially for websites or web applications. That is really, really helpful. And Lovable not just stops at the design exploration, but it also goes beyond. It will also cover. Other tool that we have seen people use it a lot is v0.dev, where it's by Vercel, where again, there's a lot of exploration that you can do. You can also iterate on the product a lot. And this is a tool that we've seen people use a lot for exploration. Finally, I think in the chat also some people said I think this was earlier Galileo, now acquired by Google. This is a really good tool where you want to start mood boarding. So this is like the way we treat it is like a AI version of Mobin or AI version of Dribble. So let's say in this example as well, we wanted to build a plant watering app, and you can see that it is able to get started with a lot of different design examples. With all of these tools, especially Stitch, I've seen that the final polishing is still not there, but it's really, really good for exploring and seeing where the ideas can go. Finally, we also have Figr AI, which is still in waitlist, but if you want, you can sign up. This also helps you in understanding what all can be built and go beyond. We also ask the question, you can copy to Figma. So this is also something we've seen a lot of designers use to do exploration. The other phase is not just exploration of design, but also uh, creating drafts of graphics, brandings, or illustrations. This is something we have seen is picking up a lot, and a lot of designers are able to use it. So one of them is Runway. I'm not sure a lot of people have or not, but this is a product that is used for not just for video creation, but for small product mockups or other designs. One of my favorite tools is Exactly AI that we use a lot, and I would personally suggest anyone to use it and give it a try as well. This is a really, really good tool where you can set up a design language. So, for example, if you want a very sketchy like format, or let's say 3D format as shown in the image here, so you can create a consistent type of image always. Many a times in these image generation tools, you would probably see a problem where you might not be able to generate a design consistently the way that you want it. And it feels very inconsistent one way or the other. But Exactly AI allows you to probably train a model as well in your design language, and it will always generate it in your design language. So it is something which is been picking up a lot. The other that is a new tool that we tried out and we really like is VV. So this tool is a bit different where you can set up your workflow from image generations to video generations to like you can just set up this whole workflow from generating from one design to another, and you can set up this whole chart of a flow. This is like a modern take on Photoshop, and it's something which is getting very popular, and it's quite trending right now. I don't think Sora needs a introduction, but it's by OpenAI. It is behind Ghibli, thing that you see that goes viral on internet. Sora, Midjourney, these are some popular tools, but I just still wanted to include this here. It is for video generation as well as image generation, so you can try this out as well. I think other part of different tools is creating workable prototypes. I'm not saying fully functioning applications, but workable prototypes. Because if you look at, like, there are two tools that we use a lot here, and we've seen a lot of different designers use. One is Bolt, and the other is obviously Lovable. But like the reason for listing them and sharing about them is that you should not look at them as a like a tool that can build a fully functioning app. Many a times you will run in this endless loop of fixing bugs. The final app at times doesn't work. What we have seen people use it the best for is that, let's say if you have a Figma design, or let's say if you have a UI design that is already done, and now you want to prototype it. So you can upload it as an image to give it as a reference, and then use it to create prototypes. That is much faster, and then that prototype you can share it with your stakeholders, with your PM, with your audience, with your users, or in general, you can see how your design is interacting. So they are really good proxies for prototyping. And we have seen a lot of designers use them, not just for exploration, like getting started with prompt, but their input generally in Bolt or Lovable is an image that they've already designed. They perform really better when you upload a UI into them, and then they make a really good prototype that you can share. Similarly, Lovable is also there. This is me trying a OKR on a performance management prototype, which worked really well. And then we can also look at some of the tools which are in documentation, design systems, and PRDs. Again, there are a lot of tools out there which are doing this, and especially the biggest ones are ChatGPT and Claude. But I wanted to touch upon some of the other tools that are there. Like you can see a lot of AI Figma plugins. So my advice to everyone would be to try a lot of Figma plugins, which are getting launched almost every day. New plugins come up, and you can just search in the Figma community AI or any particular problem you get, and there are a lot of AI plugins that are out there. Some of my favorite ones, obviously, there is a bias that is Figure Identity, which is something which we launched a couple of years back and being used by almost 80,000 designers. This is used to document and generate design systems with AI. The other is UX Pilot, which I really like. This tool is something which not just helps you in generating designs like wireframes, but also flows or your PRDs or in general documentation, getting a reason behind how the design can be and why you're making a design. And obviously, all of these general models work really well. The way that you prompt ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok is something which is very important, but it can help you not just in generating, let's say, PRDs or flows, but it can also help you in reviewing your designs or extracting insights. One thing that I wanted to touch base upon here was that in ChatGPT, Claude, you can set up projects. So one of the examples that we did earlier this year was that we took a lot of interviews, and we like spoke with over 50 people about this specific problems and what they felt about the product that we built, sort of like a user research. And then we took all of the transcripts and we gave it to Claude in a Claude project. And then we chatted with Claude that, okay, what are the top problems people are facing? What are the top good things that they have to say? My point being is that once you set up a project or sort of a memory with ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok, the results that you get are 10x. So you can try their project feature and it will like not just give you that one particular problem answer to that particular problem statement, but it can, understand the whole memory, the whole context, and then give you a really, really good result. So for any kind of documentation, any pre-design work, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok are really, really good. And finally, going towards the later part, that is like finishing up the design to ship. This is more for design engineers or front-end engineers, where we've seen Cursor coming up the most, where again, the way to use Cursor is different. Like rather than just asking Cursor in a text-based format to build something out, what we have seen that how the best results come in is when you give it a visual reference. So let's say if you're using Stitch, Figr, or any other AI tool to design something, when you copy that design, let's say even as an image or as any other part, you can then give that image as a reference to Cursor, and then the results are even better, and it is able to build it out. The other part that we have seen is that you can also set up your design system or your CSS tokens, your design system components in Cursor, and it is able to follow it really well. If you want to deep dive into how to set up your MCP server in Figma or and how to export your Figma designs to Cursor and then design, so please reach out to me. We can have a chat. It 10x your workflow in developing the design that has already been designed. Then, similar to Cursor, we have Replit. Again, this is an advanced version of Lovable or Bolt. This is more developer heavy, where you might need some development skills, but it has some visual editors as well, and it is able to design really, really good UI. I wouldn't say design, but develop the UI out there. And similar to Cursor, we've also seen Windsurf out there. I'll quickly just share this screen where we saw this market map from Designer Fund and we expanded it a bit on what all different type of tools are out there in different parts. I think we covered some of them, but you can see for ideation and research in the first phase, there are a lot of different tools, Lovetail, Maze, UserFlex, Figure. And for visual design as well, we spoke about Runway, then DALI, Sora, all of these tools. And then UI design is there, prototyping is there, and documentation, and then finally feedback and collaboration. Yeah. So far, does anyone have any question? Anyone want to share a tool that they might have tried, or anyone wants to ask anything about a tool?
I have opened up Q&A. So if you want to have any questions, you can type in there. Or if you want to directly ask in, just raise the hand.
Okay. So definitely, we'll share the presentation after the
How
whole
do you
session.
set up a project in Cloud or GPT?
Okay. Okay. Um, I'll I'll show you how it works. So I'll just present my screen to a different part
Okay.
to Claude. So in the left, you see project that is Claude, and that like in Claude that there are chats, then there is project. Now in project, there are all the different projects that we have set up. Um, and let's say if I set up a new project, I can tell what the project I'm working on. For example, let's say user interviews, and you can describe the goal that I'm trying to understand user insights. And once you've set up the project, you can also then set up this project knowledge. So, this is like a normal chat, the way that you do it with Claude or GPT, but you can set up a lot of different files here, and it will always refer to these files before answering this. So it's like a specialized memory that you have that helps you design it, like answer these questions.
So most of the question is, are all these tools are free? Are some tools open source? Can't use pay tools as at work currently?
Interesting. Yes. So that is a big problem. Like many of them are like have a free plan. Like almost 90% of them have a free plan. But at times when there is a paid tool, even when you want to pay, because of the work setting issues, like uh, you might not be able to use it, or you might not be able to share a sensitive data. So you might need to get a permission from your manager.
Okay. What do you recommend to develop a design system? What is the process for a project?
Okay, to develop a design system, I think it's a long question. Like we like in a nutshell, I would say that you should first go after the basics of understanding the product, the branding. Like design systems is set up into two parts. One is the tokens, the colors, typography, styles, all of that, and the other is your components, and then finally getting them developed. So first, you should focus on what kind of colors, typography you should have, setting it up, and then finally you can also then design components that your product needs the most. So yeah, so that you can do that. You can also try Figure Identity. We have made it very, very easy to set up a design system. Like almost in 10 minutes, you can set up a design system, which generally takes months. Yeah.
So the next question is, can we get overview of Figure? What is Figure actually about?
Okay. So, say, so Figure is a AI design tool which helps you not just in like one part of your workflow, like from brainstorming to wireframing, all in your design language. So we help you design really, really good designs, and we the way that we are different is that we'll speak about that as well later. But the major thing we have seen in all of the tools that we've used so far is that they don't completely understand you. You have to explain to them again and again what you're working on, what are your needs. So with Figure, we are building this sort of context that it always remembers what you're building on. It always understands and learns from you, your needs. So it is really good for teams or bigger projects that kind of works again and again on. So that is what we're building at Figure, like a proper modern AI design tool, which learns from you and then help you design.
So the next question, I think, the cloud or GPT, chat GPT, which will you prefer and why?
That's a really interesting question. I think he also asked one more question before this. Can you help like share tools for UI motion?
UI, yeah, UI
So,
motion.
so for UI motion, we generally use Lottie and Jitter. These are two really, really good. If you want to go really advanced, then you can also use Live. So these are the three tools that we've seen a lot. And to answer your second question, Claude or GPT, I personally try all three. I try four AI tools, like the general tools: Claude, GPT, Perplexity, as well as Grok. I've seen that uh, all of them have specific parts where they're really, really good at. Some are not that good at it. So for general brainstorming and just you know creating maybe some documents, I prefer ChatGPT the most. Claude is really good in designing, understanding users. That part, the design and code generation of Claude is really, really good. For copywriting and UX copy, I prefer Grok because it is general. Like what I feel is it is generally trained on Twitter data, which is written by humans. So it's not trained on blogs or articles that are machine made. So that is why Grok gives a very human-like text when it generates. And finally, if you're like doing a very heavy search or something, then I also try Perplexity a lot. It's really good.
So next question, I'm a solo product designer.
Hmm.
I want a design suggestions, brainstorming fully with AI. I'm using some AI tools for this. In this situation, what would you do? How will you make more strong decision? Can you give some tips for me?
Okay. So you want to design fully with there, and so in okay. I would suggest you, like, you can use a lot of different AI tools. So we'll go into it, like how we use more and more AI tools and how we try more AI tools. I think like if you are using it for brainstorming right now, then definitely you can do it with general models and different tools as well. But if you want to go with, fully with AI, I think AI is not there yet. Uh, so you might need to come in and put in your human expertise as well and bring the design together.
So next one.
The next question is, yeah,
If you had to build a project only using AI from this image, which one you would choose, and what would the process look like?
that's an interesting question. Uh, that's a really good question. I think, Naveen, honestly, it will depend on the kind of design I want to build. But to answer your question, I'll start the research probably with Claude and ChatGPT to see what all things I'm trying to make. Then I'll go to Figure and or maybe Google Stitch to start building sort of a thesis, like the flow, the user flow as well as the information architecture at Figure. Then some design inspirations at Google Stitch and Figure both. Then once I am almost happy with the design, I'll take both of them, help you export it to Figma. Then I'll go to Figma. As a designer, I love using Figma, so I'll make some changes, tweaks here and there so that I'm happy with it. Then I will take it to Cursor for prototyping. And yeah, I think for documentation, I use Notion. And for feedback and collaboration, I use Figma. So that is how I'll try to use all of these, like, in different phases, these tools, and make a design.
Is the researcher agent on Copilot and Gemini good for UX research? Have you tried them out?
Okay. We have tried both, like, especially the Gemini. It is good in code generation, but for UX research, um, see, the point with research is that even in any general model can be good at it, but you have to give it a lot of context. If you give a very vague query that, I want to research upon, let's say, uh, a specific part. Let's say if I'm building an attendance monitoring tool for HR admins. Now, it is a very specific query, and I want to research how to build this tool out. Then I'll have to give more data, what kind of query, like what kind of people I'm building it for, why I'm building it for. If you give all of that context really well, then the research will come out good. But we've seen for research, Claude, Grok, ChatGPT, they are relatively better. Okay, there's another question from Prabhar. I'm building a product from scratch. The concept of flows are already referred from older app. Okay. I'm basically switching the code environment. So now is the chance to revamp the app. Okay. He has a list of priorities: task flows, user flows, wireframes, design system, design, handoff. I feel I'm lost in the layers. Can you help me structure myself to deliver the best for the MVP? Okay. So, Prabhar, what I think you can do is, like, um, to deliver the best version of MVP, you can, if you already have a flow in mind, you can use even Claude, Figure, or Google Stitch to start making it. And if you have it in Figma, then I would suggest you to like try Figma Make as well. So your wireframes, or at one level, your user flows will be done. And like in that version, you can then probably present it to the rest of the team or to the rest of the product managers or people to see if they're happy with it. Then you might need to do something manually as well in Figma, and then you can do the handoff. Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of questions coming up. Okay, do you use, Alice has asked, do you use synthetic user for user testing? If so, which tools do you recommend? Okay. Alice, we built one, like this is a new feature that we are actually building on right now. So we first tried Claude a lot, but it takes up a lot of time. Like I haven't found honestly a good user testing research tool for with synthetic users. So what we did with Claude was that we took a lot of interviews from users, and we tried a project where we tried to set it up like how a synthetic user might react, and then we gave it designs, like our designs, and we tried to see whether it is able to give good feedback or not. So the results were like there were some insights that you can gather from it, but not a lot of it. So hence we are right now we're building one where it will help you in research and review of your designs by defining your synthetic user. So stay tuned. You can message me after the call. We can discuss it because we are right now it's in alpha phase. We are internally testing this particular problem statement. Okay, so um, there are a lot of questions. I think we can move to the next part of the presentation, and then we can take up all of the questions after that.
Yeah,
Because many questions we'll address in the next part as well. So, like to go on next, we can discuss more on what is going well and what is actually not going so well in the with the modern design teams who are adopting AI right now. So, this is sort of a chart found with Designer Fund out of San Francisco. We spoke with them as well, and this is where we see that people are able to get the most value. The designers are able to get the most value out of AI. So would see that writing content in UI copy, which if you see right now, it seems very obvious, but 5 years back, I remember it was a very, very painstaking task to write content and UI copy. Right now, it has almost taken up with AI. Like the whole era of lorem ipsum. I don't know if people remember lorem ipsum has sort of gone. And now you can have really rich, relevant UI copy in your designs. Then finally, image and video editing or generation is something which is again taken up a lot. Layout exploration is something which is being used a lot. So when we say layout exploration, what I mean is that you see Google Stitch or let's say V0 or Figure, like people have wrong expectation that it can give you the final design. Right now the AI is probably not there yet, but it can give you a really good layout that okay, this is how I want to position all of my elements. So then you can go in and design the elements. So it's taking some part of the work away, but it's not completely automating it. Then finally, stakeholder presentations, that is where Lovable Bold comes in, but not a lot of people are still using it. It's only 28%. Then design polish or critique. It's being done using either Figma Make or like, in general with general models like Claude GPT. Then generating UI components, creating wireframes, interaction and animation is very less. And then finally design system work. So there's a lot for AI to catch up, and but this is something I wanted to share where right now rest of the teams out there in the world are using AI the most. And so as a group, at least we can utilize the AI where it is being utilized the most. And then we can also look out for other tools that are going. Another thing that we can look at is that this new workflows that are being coming up, these new fluid workflows that are emerging with AI. Earlier, it used to be in a very linear way where you would start with an idea, then probably do an exploration, mood boarding, and then finally go to Figma, then design it, then show it to someone. Right now, it's very fluid. You can quickly just prompt and make a design out there, and you can show a very quick first version within an hour to someone to see if it clicks with a developer or not. So it's very, very fluid, and the whole idea is becoming quite fluid. But I wanted to address some other parts of the AI as well, that everything is not perfect with AI. And as we spoke in the beginning of the session, that there are a lot of limitations of AI as well. And if we are aware about it, then we can utilize AI the best. The other thing I wanted to talk to about was that, which we like, even for me, it took me some time to break that bias where, let's say, if you try an AI tool today, and it might not be perfect. You might not have the best experience. 6 months down the line, it might have overcome that problems because the whole market is moving so fast. So things today, what Claude, GPT, or any other AI tool was not able to do, 6 months down the line, they are able to do. So always try to give second chances to tools which you're using, because you never know how quickly they are like quickly they are going up and evolving. But these are some of the problems that we have seen. First is just context and assumptions in the whole area, where whenever we are designing AI generation tools, they assume a lot of context, and they don't ask you questions, or they don't understand deeply about the problem, and they are very solution first. They just quickly design before understanding why they're designing, who they're designing for, what is the problem. Ideally, designers are not just visual aesthetic designers. They're not just designing pixels. The way designers work are, they're problem solvers. They understand users, they understand user psychology, they understand business, they understand what are the needs of the business, needs of the product, and then they combine all of it together in a visual format. That is something which is missing in AI today, that it doesn't understand the context and that assumptions to be made. The other is, at times it can feel a bit generic for that head start that you get. Uh, and it's not specific to your language. So there's a whole debate of, most of the AI tools out there are not properly capturing your design system to build the design. Uh, that's something that we at Figr are actually solving for. But we have seen it's a very big and tough problem to solve, to incorporate design system uh, as you design it over there. So that is another problem that we've seen, that the designs can feel generic at times. The other thing that we've seen is that, again, going back to that note where most of the designers are problem solvers, and UI designing or the interface is not just the final solution of a problem that we're solving. Many a times, just to get a good grasp of that problem, let's say a conversion rate is dropping off in a bookings app. So, like before going into the screen designing, you might need to chart out a flow that, okay, the user is going through 20 clicks and then they're able to pay. So we might need to reduce the clicks. So you would see that almost all of the design tools that we talked about and we mentioned here, none of them deals with flow. And making user flows is a very essential part of a designer's journey, because it helps us understand how users are moving through the screens, what actions and steps users are taking. And many times, like AI tools just forget about the flow and go straight up into designing. And this is a final bit that I've seen, that the designs that are generated out there, um, like most of the times when we see as designers, like real world designers, that we explain our designs to anyone out there, like to other designers, to PMs, to let's say any business leader, like why we designed the way we designed. The design rationale is equally important. The story behind the design is equally important to the design. But with AI, it feels like a black box, that the design that has been made, what all decisions, what all data points were processed, why it made the way it made. And that is very, very important, to have a rationale, have a backing and a story behind why you design what you made. But that is also somewhat missing in AI right now. And yeah, so to sort of end up and conclude, like this is the third phase of the session, like how to adapt and act, whether you are a designer, design leader, or as a student. So there are a lot of parts where we can cover. Like the first big thought that I want everyone to leave with is, that the lines between the three roles that we've seen, the front end engineer, the designer, and the product manager, is quickly blurring with AI. The designers are able to do analytics work. They're able to understand more deeply why products are made the way they are made, and they're able to do product managers' job. Product managers, on the other hand, are equipped with designers' role. They're able to quickly create some wireframes, some bit as well. And on the other hand, engineers as well, they're able to design. They're able to do the business work, because AI has lowered the ceiling of these skill sets that are needed to do eliminate like the preliminary work that other roles do. So how do you adapt is that if you are a designer, then you also go into the other territory. You also try to understand why products are being made, what product managers do. You have a good backing behind the design, why it is being made. You can also learn a bit about the technical efficiency. You can play around with the coding tools out there, try to whip up a prototype in code, because the lines between them is blurring, and it will blur a lot more in the coming years. And we feel that a new role together will emerge, and these roles are getting emerged. You might have heard of design engineer, a person who designs as well as engineers the designs. Then there are a lot of product managers, design forward product managers who design. And then there are a lot of engineers I've met who are they have a very good business and product acumen, and they do a really good job of product management as well. So these roles are blurring, and like my 2 cents would be here to, as people, in this era right now, we can also push ourselves and learn a lot more and try to do other work. The other thing that is very, very important is that good taste will thrive. When I say taste, it's not just your judgment of what looks good or bad. It's also a sense of what users or what on an overall level humans want. Uh, in the end of the day, design skills, it's a tool. Design tools are there. They will come and go. Right now, there are Figma, then there might be something else. Learning a tool is not always doesn't make you a great designer. What a great designer is, like knowing what looks good and what looks bad. That whatever I'm going to design, will it work or not? Will users like it or not? And that is not going anywhere. You can use all the AI you want, but the person who will have the good taste will be able to use AI best and will be able to make AI generate the best outcome that will resonate with the AI a lot, with the users a lot. So the good taste will thrive, and my 2 cents here is to build that good taste. It's a very tough and a subjective thing. That how, as a designer, I can build good taste, but the people or the designers who have a good sense of what looks good and bad will thrive in the future. That is important. And we talked about this, that developing a technical fluency in the future. But there's also what I feel right now at this age is to also try a lot of AI tools. There's sort of an apprehension of not trying a lot of AI tools out there. And most of the people that I've spoken to, they are self-learning and they are trying and exploring on their own all of these AI tools. Most of them are free to sign up on freemium plan. You can try and understand where AI is right now, uh, what it can do and what it can't do, and then you can adapt. A very good hack that I almost do every week is you can try the best and the latest AI tools on Product Hunt. You can go to producthunt.com, and there are 2, 3 ways that you can try and find AI tools. If you go to the upper bar on products, there is a design and creative field. And in each field, there are hundreds and hundreds of products. And almost every day, it ranks the products on the popularity. So every day, new products are launched. Every week, product of the week, product of the month are really, really good tools. Some of the best tools like Grammarly or Gumroad, Notion, all of them were launched at Product Hunt at one point or the other. So the best or the future Notion, future Grammarly, future Figma are being launched on Product Hunt today. And you can catch them early and you can get a head start and you can try the latest and the best AI tools on Product Hunt. So do try it out. Almost all of the tools we spoke about uh, have been launched on Product Hunt, and newer tools are being launched. And yeah, I just want to answer the question of the hour. I think Aaron also told me that will AI replace designers in the future? I personally believe that uh, more and more designers will be created. AI will not replace designers. It will just make you more faster, more better. It will make you unstoppable. So good designers will become even better, even faster, and you will be able to do a lot more things. You will be able to design even better with AI. So rather than fearing it or being confused about what to do with AI, you should embrace it, try more AI tools, and use it as much as you can in your workflow to become a better designer. Thank you so much. We can continue the question session. Would be happy to take any other questions.
Yeah, I have opened a Q&A. We have
I think there were some questions answered in the last Q&A.
Right.
so Moksh, I have a question for you. So
Yes, yes.
what are the ethical concerns in using AI generated content like UI, images, and icons?
Mhm. So definitely there is some of ethical concern that we have seen in the past as well, where uh, you never know that how the AI model has been trained on what type of content. But we're seeing that more and more strict guidelines are being made, especially with these bigger companies like OpenAI or Claude, which are now guardrailing on the kind of data that they train on. So I feel that they're now training the data in a better way. But at the same time, if you find out that this is something that is not original, or it's something that you feel, you should always credit to the original source. I think that is something as a consumer we can be responsible for.
So you mentioned that you have given the user interview as a project in a cloud. So what? So how much percent you trust that? So you
Mm,
personally interview that people or someone goes there. So do you have the context of that discussion over there, and what
right,
percentage it was pretty much accurate for them?
right, right. That's a good question, Aaron. So Um, like I think with the 50 interviews, I personally took about 15 or 20, and the rest, some members from my team took it. And that was the task. Like if we would have actually tried to make sense of all the 50 interviews, try to map out the patterns, it would have taken us almost 1 or 2 days for all of us to do that. So what we did was we just uploaded it there, and like initially when we were asking it question, there was this sort of lack of trust, that how do I trust that okay, it is able to capture everything well. So generally, when in this specific example, what I do is I ask the AI to give me reference and give a backing of why it is saying the way it is saying. So it was able to source or quote the people. So for example, if someone is feeling good about the product, then I wouldn't just believe it. I will tell it, okay, give me a source. So it will give me a source that this person said at this time that because of this, I'm referring to this part. So that builds up a trust a bit. So it also goes into UI UX designing bit as well, where we spoke about that the design rationale or the backing behind the design is not there. And that is where a lack of trust comes in. And this is what we need to solve for as well. Like with AI and with newer AI tools, I feel that as designs are made, they're able to back it with AI, like back it with rational.
Okay. So we talk about accessibility. Didn't talk about, so is AI ready for to evaluate the usability part without a human direction or the accessibility part?
It's a good question. I think as of now, I feel because it's such an important part of the design workflow, right now, AI can only help you, but not completely automate. I think Figma also launched a new feature where you are able to tell whether the text behind the images or like text above that particular box is or the color is accessible or not. It gives you a rating. So it can be semi-automated in one way, but definitely in the end, human has to step up and see if everything is accessible or not.
So there are a couple of questions in there.
That
How
is good. Yes.
yeah, how would
Yeah.
your design workflow change if all these tools were merged into a single AI operating system?
Okay. Um, so I think as of now, it hasn't merged into a single AI operating system. And once it does, like because like there are so many tools and some of them are good at something, some of them are good at something else. I think once they combine together at one part, there would be a new emergent like Figma. Because if you like look back before Figma, like people used to use Sketch or Adobe XD, then Figma came in and it solved a lot of problems that the different tools had, and that is how Figma became a market leader. Right now, in a whole design process, there's a lot of bits that can be automated or semi-automated, and all of them once combined at one place, I think a new type of Figma will be evolved or will emerge in the market. So that is, I think, we will see how it pans out in the next 1 or 2 years. But that's the problem right now as well. Like as designers, we need to switch workflows and go from one tool to another to try and get the best out of them.
So, which tool is best AI tool that can use for generating wireframes so through the prompts? So Moksh has already mentioned that you need to try different tools.
Yeah,
Or do
try
you have
different tools.
any favorite?
Uh, I've tried a lot of them. My like I don't want to be biased when I say Figure, but I really like that if you're working on a product that is already live out in front of users, we really understand the context well, and we then generate wireframe really well. But the second that comes close is for me is for newer generations. I really like just raw Claude. Like Claude also generates really good, and then finally, I would say. Um, Yeah, like I've tried Google Stitch a lot and it's at times really unreliable. So at times it gives a really good result. So you can try it out. At times it doesn't give on a very complex query.
How would the market respond as the emergence of AI simplifying the task and demand of people and demand decreases?
Okay. I, I think the demand will increase because it's a good question and we have discussed it a lot with design leaders and industry leaders. And to answer this, imagine it sort of from a first principle that like with Lovable, Bolt, all of these code generation tools out there, building a product is becoming easy and it will continue to become even easier. So now building a product fast is not an edge anymore. So what can be the edge? You will see that, Airbnb versus Oyo. Airbnb is much, much bigger because its experience is so much better. Uber won not because of like they did a lot of different things, but their user experience was really, really good. Same with Spotify. In the past, we have seen that user experience has been like when the user experience is good, the teams or these companies or the products win. Similarly, now more and more teams will rely on UI being the more important part, the design and the aesthetics and the experience of using the product more important. And with time, that will become a very core differentiator. And as a survey as well, like we've seen, user experience is becoming more and more important for a company, and more and more business leaders are actually understanding the importance of it. So the demand will only increase from here. And so that is where we see, I think Figma CEO also said that the floor is getting lower to design. Like it's easier for anyone to design, but at the same time, the ceiling is also becoming higher. The best, like the expectation of best design is changing, and more people will expect even better designs.
So the next question you have mentioned like campaigning of different roles. So my question is, should be all in one person who have all the skills like from a product research to last part of the product making plus skills that combine AI with those roles, will it give more advantage for us?
Okay. Um, like this is let me just reconfirm that this is a question about the roles that are merging together, right? So I think you should like the specialization that you have, let's say if you're a designer, that you should definitely get better at. But at the same time, you should not be clueless about how the front end works or how the product management works. It will only make you a better designer. Like if you know that the design I'm making, it will take this much effort to get developed, or these are the problems that it will get to being developed, or this is like the sum of the technicalities as it is getting developed, you will be able to design more relevant screens. Similarly, getting to the why of it, like why are you making the design in the first place, what prompted the business to make these design changes or add a new feature or make it in such form, that is essentially what a product manager does. Maybe understanding the analytics, maybe understanding the user behavior, that part will also again help you become a better designer and design even more relevant screens. So don't be clueless about this and add more breadth to it. And if you find it interesting, then obviously go deeper into it. I've seen like even the like the head of design at Craig. He was earlier a front end engineer. He started out as a front end engineer, and he loved designing so much that he then started exploring designs. That okay, I really like designing, like developing tough designs. So Harish started out as a front end engineer, then got into design. And now he knows both, but he's now heading the design at Cred. So he knows both. And obviously, he also knows product building and product management bit. I think people like the world requires more of such people, and like AI is forcing or like pushing people to go that way. So that is how it will moving forward. Yeah.
So relying on AI in every process, will it affect design thinking over time? So Nandu has asked the question.
That's a uh, good question. I think we should not rely on AI on every process. I think design thinking is core to how humans think. And uh, I think I've seen and spoken to a lot of good designers where, in the first part of the design process, they generally don't start with any AI tool or even not even any inspiration, anything on internet. They will just sit with a plain old whiteboard and a marker, and they will start sketching and sort of visualizing what all the problems are and how they can solve it. It really helps you understand, okay, what are the, and it also pushes you on the first principle, like how to think on the first principle level. Once you have some notes, once you have some raw thoughts, then probably you can go to AI and you can start with it. But at the same time, it also depends on the problem statement. If you're, let's say, building a login page, then it's almost a solved problem. You don't need to rethink or reimagine the login page. But if you're building a very intricate screen or a very sophisticated system, then such exercise will help you a lot. And definitely, over reliance on AI should not be there.
So the results generated by AI in code generations are of great, but in design it is struggling or lacking. What do you think in reason for huge difference?
Hmm. So, dif- it's a good question. See, the difference is because code is generally very objective. When you write a code, it's either right or wrong. There is no in between. But when you design, it's very subjective. You don't know if it is right or wrong. It can be right to someone, it can be wrong to someone else. So for AI, which is more of a logical system, taking up code is easier, and that is why coding, it is started out with coding. The other part also is that coding is text-based. So again, text-based generations are really easy, like easier. The models are easier to train as well. On the other hand, design is again pixels and visuals. So those models are increasing really well. But especially with UI designing, it's even tougher because it's not also images, it's a vector. So getting a scalable vector with AI is very, very tough. Like you will see Mid-Journey or other AI tools which are diffusion based. So they are able to make pixels, but vectors is something which we have seen not come up yet. So it will go through the code part, and let's see how that hangs out.
So I have one question regarding that. So if you go with the blowout, lovable, or cursor or anything, or any visual kind of it, even replicate. So most of the applications are using React and Shadcn UI. Why these companies are coming with
Mhm.
the primary, either it is a React code or with the Shadcn UI? What's its
Mhm.
thought on you?
Right, right. So both have different reasons, like React being, first of all, the most common language like for web applications, and it's relatively easier to write. Hence, React is also it's very popular. So they go towards the React path. On the other hand, FatCN is it's based on Tailwind and Radix UI. The the FatCN covers a lot of breadth. Like we tried code generation with Material UI as well, or with other component libraries, and FatCN covers the most component, and it's also one of the most modern UI libraries. The components you see are a bit modern in nature, so I think hence they are using it. But we have seen like people solving it, like AI design tools coming up, which can plug in a lot of different type of libraries, like not just React, but different code, as well as they can also plug in different type of component libraries, not just StatCM, but Material UI, or even from a mobile aspect, different component libraries.
Yeah, I have seen one in UX Pilot where you can give the design system and it will try to. But UX Pilot is not, I mean, even not touching. They are using Material Library, I think so, from
Mhm.
by default. Um, I think Ready is also Material, not Ready, Create or something is using Material Library. So do you think that these companies will go for with another components, or will they stick on with the Shadcn or React?
They will go to another components. I think currently most of the companies like these, they are using Claude or GPT in the backdrop behind the scenes. And overall, Claude and GPT is best trained on React and Shadcm. So hence, it gives the best results. So the moment, let's say, we see Claude 4 was launched recently, when like in Claude 5 or 6 or 7, it will be more compatible with other type of code other than React, as well as with more component libraries. So as we give more time, it will be trained on more and more data, and it will get better results with other libraries as well. And then we will see these companies like Ready, UX Pilot, other companies as well. They will also start supporting it.
So I believe there are some developers in this meeting as well. So I'm asking from a developer point of view. So what percentage you can trust AI generated code?
It's very less, like honestly, because the like as the complexity of the code goes up, the trust goes down. And many a times we've seen that with the, I think that's why we like Cursor, but with other tools, they change a lot of files as well. Like the file structure we've seen also getting changed. So generally when I code and we make some changes, so or I'll try almost like inline edits so that let's say it is more of suggestive in nature rather than a lot more additive. So that is how I do that. The other thing is also that I use Claude Code or like, GPT to have the code generation in a separate part and then copy paste it, like review it properly and then paste it out. Cursor is really good, but still like at times when it changes a lot of code, more time goes into reviewing what all was changed and if everything was changed or not. So it takes up a lot of time in bug fixing and reviewing the code that AI has generated now. So definitely the trust is less, but at the same time, I'm quite optimistic about it that with time it will only go higher and the quality will also go higher.
Okay. So there's a question. What challenges have you faced when trying to convert Journey artwork into clean vectors?
Midjourney, it's relatively tougher. Like if you already know Illustrator or these advanced Adobe Illustrator or other advanced tools, then uh, still it takes some time. But if you don't know them how to use it, then it's a very very big task. Like almost always it messes up when you try to convert them into vectors. So it's a task. We are seeing some experiments happening on again the AI models which are native in vector generations. So they're able to generate vectors out of the box. But as of now, they're relatively less.
So I think we can go with the last question. So do you think AI can understand abstract design principles like delight or emotion?
Mm. Uh, Honestly, right now, I don't think it is able to, but I think it might be able to with time. But at the same time, uh, it's a very subjective question because the delight or all of these feelings or emotions, like they come with surprise and innovation. You know, many a times when people innovate or any new product innovate, then you're able to delight the user or add an emotion to it. But if something is already done, then generally it doesn't delight. For example, Spotify Wrapped was there. And it was the first time when someone was, combining everything together, like all of the history of how you use the product and showing it to you. There was a delight and surprise to it. But when we think about it, AI in its nature is a pattern matcher. Like it matches the pattern and gives the output. So it will be very difficult for AI to innovate and come up with something very, very new altogether that has never been shipped or designed before. So that can be challenging in the future as well.
So Moksh was a really good session on how we can use AI in our a design workflow. So most of these concepts, we were able to catch everything that you said, like all the tools. So I think it's up to us to try those tools and come up with some new products that that'll be very. So everyone here, I thank you for hosting such a wonderful session, and we look forward to have more sessions with you. Thank you, Moksh, and thank you everyone for how us gathered here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, team, for having me.